1. When mentoring a new notary public in Utah, which teaching approach best aligns with adult learning principles? A. Relying solely on lectures and handouts. B. Encouraging self-directed case study analysis. C. Providing mandatory memorization exercises. D. Avoiding interactive discussions. 2. A notary instructor designs a training evaluation that measures both knowledge and application of Utah notarial law. Which evaluation method is most appropriate? A. Multiple choice exam only. B. Role-play simulations with scoring rubrics. C. Anonymous satisfaction surveys. D. Open book written essay only. 3. Which communication technique most effectively ensures that notary trainees internalize regulatory compliance concepts? A. Using technical jargon frequently. B. Presenting long lists of statutes without context. C. Applying real-world scenarios with group discussions. D. Avoiding questions to maintain control of class. 4. During a Utah notary training, a participant challenges a regulation as unnecessary. What adult learning strategy should the mentor apply? A. Redirect to another topic immediately. B. Acknowledge the concern and explain the regulation with a case example. C. Dismiss the concern to maintain authority. D. Ignore the participant and continue the lecture. 5. Which evaluation method most accurately measures a notary candidate's ability to prevent fraud? A. True-false exam questions. B. Case study analysis with ethical decision-making. C. Memorization drills of statute numbers. D. Group icebreaker exercises. 6. A Utah notary trainer develops a curriculum. What should be the first step in curriculum development? A. Select test items to be used. B. Identify learner needs and legal requirements. C. Write a lecture script. D. Schedule the training venue. 7. Which mentoring strategy fosters reflective practice among Utah notary trainees? A. Providing immediate answers to every question. B. Assigning reflective journaling after notarization role plays. C. Limiting opportunities for peer feedback. D. Requiring only rote memorization of statutes. 8. A notary candidate struggles with understanding the identification requirements. Which teaching method best supports adult learners? A. Assign extra textbook readings without context. B. Provide a checklist and facilitate practice scenarios. C. Increase lecture length on statutory language. D. Require silent memorization of ID categories. 9. Which of the following communication practices demonstrates regulatory compliance in Utah notary training? A. Encouraging trainees to notarize family members to practice. B. Reinforcing impartiality with scenario-based discussion. C. Suggesting shortcuts for efficiency. D. Overlooking errors for the sake of confidence building. 10. A trainer evaluates notary candidate skills through a mock notarization. This method is best classified as A. Formative evaluation. B. Diagnostic evaluation. C. Summative evaluation. D. Norm-referenced evaluation. 11. In curriculum designed for Utah notary education, which step ensures alignment with regulatory compliance? A. Basing instruction solely on student feedback. B. Reviewing Utah Code Title 46 and administrative rules. C. Using outdated training guides for efficiency. D. Avoiding legal references to keep learners engaged. 12. When training notary candidates on fraud prevention, which method encourages critical thinking? A. Assigning rote memorization of statute language. B. Presenting hypothetical fraudulent attempts for group analysis. C. Limiting instruction to state-issued FAQs. D. providing only fill-in-the-blank worksheets. 13. A mentor guides a trainee in ethical decision-making. What is the most effective strategy? A. Modeling ethical behavior and explaining choices in context. B. Providing pre-written scripts with no discussion. C. Ignoring ethical dilemmas to avoid controversy. D. Allowing learners to determine ethics individually without guidance. 14. Which evaluation technique provides the most comprehensive measure of a trainee's readiness for the UT Notary test? A. Observation checklists, knowledge exams, and reflective exercises. B. Peer evaluations only. C. Oral quiz questions only. D. Attendance tracking only. 15. What is the most effective way to integrate communication training into Utah Notary education? A. Role-play exercises simulating client interactions. B. Silent reading of legal codes. C. Copying definitions from textbooks. D. Repeatedly watching lecture slides. 16. A notary instructor must assess regulatory compliance understanding. Which question type is most effective? A. Opinion-based essay. D. Scenario-based multiple choice. C. Short answer trivia on statute numbers. D. True-false quiz. 17. When mentoring, how can an instructor best respect adult learners' prior experiences? A. Discouraging them from sharing to avoid confusion. B. Inviting them to connect personal experiences to training scenarios. C. Only validating experiences that align with the trainer's perspective. D. Avoiding experience-based discussions altogether. 18. Which practice ensures regulatory compliance in the Utah notarial record-keeping process? A. Leaving journal entries optional for efficiency. B. Encouraging full, accurate, and permanent records. C. Recording entries in pencil for corrections. D. Allowing trainees to skip journal practice. 19. A mentor notices a notary trainee is overconfident but misinformed about acknowledging signatures. Which approach best applies adult learning principles? A. Correct the trainee publicly to demonstrate authority. B. Provide constructive feedback with scenario-based clarification. C. Ignore the misunderstanding to avoid discouragement. D. Require more reading without explanation. 20. In developing a Utah notary curriculum, which step ensures effective evaluation? A. Align assessments with both learning objectives and legal requirements. D. Randomly assign quizzes without objectives. C. Focus only on content recall exams. Avoid evaluations to reduce stress. 21. Which of the following is an effective mentoring approach to support a struggling notary trainee? A. Assigning rote memorization tasks. B. Providing guided practice with feedback. C. Limiting opportunities to practice until mastery is shown. D. Allowing them to fail independently without support. 22. When communicating legal requirements to adult learners, the trainer should A. Use abstract explanations with minimal context. E. Translate statutes into practical, real-life applications. C. Avoid discussing the rationale for legal requirements. D. Speak quickly to cover as much material as possible. 23. Which evaluation method best measures decision-making under pressure during notarization? A. Time scenario-based simulations. B. Short answer quizzes. C. True-false exams. D. Lecture recall questions. 24. A Utah notary instructor ensures materials reflect current statutes. This reflects which principle of curriculum development? A. Relevance and accuracy. B. Entertainment value. C. Tradition and consistency. D. Student convenience. 25. Which mentoring strategy fosters long-term retention of regulatory requirements? A. Immediate correction with detailed explanation. B. Ignoring mistakes until testing. C. Memorization drills without context. D. Teaching shortcuts for efficiency. 26. A notary candidate demonstrates difficulty in distinguishing acknowledgments from jurats. Which instructional method is most effective? A. Provide comparative role-play exercises. B. Assign additional statute reading only. C. Deliver repetitive lectures without examples. D. Avoid practice until the test. 27. In adult learning, which principle is most applicable to Utah notary training? A. Adults prefer passive listening. B. Adults value learning tied to real-life problems. C. Adults learn best without feedback. D. Adults retain only through memorization. 28. Which communication strategy best models impartiality during training? A. Demonstrating neutral language in client simulations. Allowing favoritism to build rapport. C. Ignoring impartiality as an abstract concept. D. Encouraging bias to test resilience. 29. What type of evaluation ensures trainees are prepared for real-world notarizations? A. Authentic assessment with live client simulations. B. Memorization of statute numbers. C. Fill-in-the-blank worksheets. D. Peer popularity surveys. 30. Which of the following reflects mentoring with an emphasis on ethical compliance? A. Encouraging notaries to prioritize convenience over regulations. B. Modeling lawful practices and explaining their necessity. C. Suggesting shortcuts if no one is watching. D. Avoiding discussion of controversial ethical topics.